This is our homeland, we love it. This indeed is our cherished homeland, and we unequivocally stand for it. We stand firmly for our sacred land, but most certainly not for those malevolent ghouls who are quite strangely running the country today. The head of Poland has clearly stated that he currently has no willing volunteers for a potential future war with Russia and Belarus. You know, finally someone is starting to tell the truth. Although it's somewhat relative, it's still the truth. There are no volunteers because people simply don't want to fight at all. They just don't want to. They're being forced. In Poland itself, people live peacefully side by side, Poles and Russians. And Belarusians too. That is, Belarusians live in a friendly way, Ukrainians live in a friendly way, Russians live in a friendly way, and so do Poles. So who is supposed to be fighting whom? Or is it that with a wave of some fool's magic wand, people are supposed to go somewhere and kill each other? But of course they'll promise money. All of this is, such a disgusting affair. We all kept waiting and waiting and waiting for something to end. It's not that we were just waiting. We understood that war is a profitable business, but still, we wanted to hope that maybe they'd fight it out over there and wouldn't get involved anywhere else. But as you know, there are some cartoons that tell us about the plans. No, they're not clairvoyants, they're not forecasters. They just voice the plans, and most often after the fact. Or they announce the plans right before the event. And these plans are considered to be clairvoyance. Yes, someone draws these cartoons and someone tells us about them. In short, Poland doesn't want to fight, but they're being forced to. In Israel, the situation there is different. This morning, Gaza was bombed. Gaza is burning, Israel is taking over. Trump made a gesture with his hands and said it's their business. Israel will figure out what to do on its own. In other words, Trump needs Gaza. Trump needs Gaza to build his own Suez Canal named after himself. So for him, the benefit is obvious. He wants to be the ruler of the world. Trump. No, not the little suit you see. There's a fairy Trump running around acting all silly. Sometimes he just stares at one spot and can't figure out what to say next. Other times he gestures a lot. That's just a costume. But the real Donald Trump, he is together with Vladimir Putin on the distant shimmering shores of some opulent El Dorado country they have built for themselves. And let the world burn, because after about 5 years of bombings back and forth, the world will be empty. And then they'll start cloning a new population and building a new bright life for slaves all over again. But these slaves won't remember what happened 20 years ago. That's just how it is, unfortunately. People have short memories. At the same time, PERM, which actively produces advanced UAVs with the skilled hands of truly wonderful young black women who were specifically brought in as if for a carefully assembled harem, a dedicated military harem, were brought there to contribute their valuable expertise. There are several cities in Siberia where they were brought in. They worked there, officially listed as factory workers. Well, why not let them work? Young girls, after all, their hands are... After all those voodoo spells, they're quite capable of producing drones themselves. This is the kind of situation where we're living in a ridiculous world. You can't even call it a looking glass world. You know, it's rare to encounter such a strange attitude people have toward themselves. Well, and for dessert, so to speak, I'll tell you about something we've been seeing for quite some time. That they're bringing Kadyrov, the younger one, little Adam, to power. A handsome guy, and now he seems to have lost some weight and is well becoming a man. They married him off early because how else could he govern Chechnya? And without being married, it's impossible. He was married immediately. I don't even know how old he was. 18? Let's hope he turned 18. Although maybe he was still 17 years old there. This is Adam Kadyrov, who... Oh, by the way, he was born in 2008. Well, just count how old he was. I think this was even in 2024. His wedding was announced. So Adam Kadyrov, because of his youth, he wants to dress well. And if you have loads of money, why not? You can't judge that. We love to judge. And he wants watches like that too. This one has 104 diamonds, that one has 98, and here there are 155. And they sparkle like real rocks. The watches aren't worth millions though. Let's say the watch costs $400,000. For a little boy, well, yes, of course, that's expensive. But if your dad is the president of Chechnya, why not? All the more so, our life is without breaks, without rules. Whoever is stronger rules wins and can do as they please. They dictate the terms, but that's not the point. The president, supposedly a legitimate president, it was stated to Ramzan Kadyrov that power in Chechnya would not be transferred by hereditary principle, that power would be elected. And now, well, for example, they've proposed Daudov. This has started a clan struggle within Chechnya. Everyone understands that handing over power to a little boy is, let's say, unethical towards the local residents, towards the old elders who are used to obeying their seniors, not kids who have just come out from under their mother's skirt. Well, I'll say it again, he's a good boy, no doubt about it. We only know him from his good side, but he's young, very young. Ramzan Kadyrov stated just yesterday that he is healthy, very healthy, and continues his usual lifestyle, walking in the mountains, taking strolls, and giving orders right there. That's Ramzan Kadyrov. But we saw how 4 or 5 years ago someone came to Chechnya. It was either during COVID or just before that, and most importantly, it was the mullah in peace. And he only comes for very special occasions. And I suspect that it was then that Ramzan Kadyrov died, and everything else, my friends, well, everything else, and after all, we have 22 Putins, not just one. So, why did you decide that Ramzan Kadyrov should be unique, a one of a kind? What kind of genocide and injustice is this towards Ramzan Kadyrov? He too can be produced in multiple copies. And really just take a moment to think for yourselves. Who exactly is truly pushing little Adam towards gaining significant power? And why is it now, after several long years of meticulously grooming him for a position of power, showering him with countless, endless medals and accolades, that suddenly, at this very moment, there's a change in approach? They've decided to sideline him and say that it's not his time yet. He's still young. Today is September 16th, 2025. I am Tanya Karatsuba, Sit Burhan.